Hey everyone, I'm your host, Courtney Massey.
And I'm your host, Valerie David, and this is the night session.
This week we have a special guest joining us, and no, it is not the table Ernest Gubis rested his dick on, but it's just as good, if not better. Valerie, who do we have with us today?
As per requested from one of our fans, Michael, who was very excited about the three of us working together, we have Stephanie Neppl from I Have a Tennis Addiction. We've stolen her away from her weekly radio show where she usually talks women's tennis instead of men's butts. So we're going to get a little different perspective this time. So welcome, Steph.
Hey, thanks. I don't know if my life will ever be any better than being told I'm better than talking about a table that Ernest Gold's stick rested on. So, I mean, it's all downhill from here, right?
Exactly, exactly. Well, welcome. We're happy to have you. We do know how to start these things. We're really good at it. Um, so yes, welcome to the night session.
Thanks.
Our
I'm so happy to be here.
and we'll get right into it. Our first segment is our street cred segment, where we try to sound a little bit more uh, quote unquote professional, where we kind of show people we do follow tennis and not just butts and such. Um, so I'm going to hand it over to Valerie to kind of get us started.
Yeah, this was I wanted should have made this picture up because I was gonna call it the Asian Swing Suckage, because there's been a lot of kind of crummy stuff that's been going on during the Asian Swing, and one of them is this lovely, beautiful Wuhan stadium that was empty for a lot of the tournament. And even when there was a decent amount of people there, the stadium is so huge that it still is like horribly empty. So that was one of the things. Also, the for the women particularly, all the tournaments overlap, and so they're playing first rounds on Saturday and Sunday while the last tournament is ending, and they're playing semifinals and finals. And so for me, I've been completely confused about who's playing when and what I'm supposed to be watching. Never mind the time zone difference. And then plus also we've had 7,000 injuries. So
7,000. Is that an accurate number? That
yeah,
we're
I think that was
very
the official stat.
our official night session mathematician on staff.
well, I wrote down just like a few. I had Carol's had her ongoing knee injury, and then she screwed up her thigh, and so she lost early in one of the tournaments. Vika, I had to retire, and she's got that thigh injury that she picked up like before Cincinnati. That I guess
No,
she's.
this is the other thigh now.
Oh, it's the other thigh now. It's compensating.
Just like Maria's had like every part of her legs hurt this year, and so she'd gone through those, and now it was turned for her wrist and her left arm.
Yes,
So it's just like, you know, a big body tape mess on the WTA, especially right now.
yes, and like Safarova's out long term, and Beijing, Van de Wey and Halep just retired in Beijing. So during matches. So and that's
Yeah,
just what I wrote down.
I know. I woke up this morning and I was looking at the scores and I thought, what the heck? And I mean, it is not, it's like Monday in Beijing now, and the top two women are already out because
Right.
Kvitova lost and Halep retired. So
Uh,
I completely agree with you about the weird scheduling. It's like, what the heck? Like, I'm all about, maybe a Sunday start, but why are we getting, I suppose it was Sunday there, so that doesn't really go. But yeah, it feels like for us, the weekend sort of is happening earlier than it's supposed to or something, and we're starting the week. We're like, where'd everybody go?
yeah, yeah, and that there were four players that were in finals in one in Tokyo, I think, and then the very next tournament they had to play the very next day, and they had to Aga and Bencic had to travel from Japan to China, which was I looked it up. It was 1,400 miles they had to travel and then play that very next day. So I mean, and so Aga lost in the first round. And I think Bencic retired too in one of these tournaments.
Whichever one. Yeah, I
Whichever
know.
one it was.
They all blend. I have no idea where anybody is.
No,
I
and
just
Well, what's
especially
so funny?
go ahead, Steph.
I was to say, I used to live in Asia, and when I lived there, I lived in both China and South Korea, and there was like no tennis anywhere. And now, of course, we have like Queen Stacy, who finished up, by the way, at the WTA last
Yeah.
Friday. Bon voyage, Stacy. But it's proper Asian swing. But why the heck did we have like three tournaments the first week of the Asian swing? We had Tokyo, Guangzhou, and Seoul, I think. I'm like, I don't have time for this right now. Like, I'm still in the post US Open. Like,
Yes.
I'm so tired. And yet, let's expect all of our players to be in tip-top shape
Right.
and expect that like everyone else is supposed to care when
Right.
clearly the players aren't like committed that much to hanging out for multiple days at some of these tournaments right now. So it's kind of a buzzkill right now.
Yeah, that's how I was glad when, we talked about this before and you were saying that. I'm like, I'm glad it's not just me because I was feeling guilty. Like I almost, I just feel drained. And it's like, but it seems like that's how the players feel too. It's just, it's a shame because I'm sure all the people that are tennis fans in Asia are excited to have all these tournaments by them, but they seem to have just clumped them all together in a big mess. And and I mean, this kind of turnout too is not great. So I mean, you can always hope that that'll improve later. But it's kind of the irony that Li Na kind of inspired a lot of this, and then she retired.
I
So
know, and then like Peng Shuai, who was in the top 20,
yes,
made this quarterfinals US Open in 2013. No, that was just last year,
yeah, just
2014. And then she's basically been injured ever since.
yeah.
Zheng Jie, who, made two semifinals, the Grand Slams in singles, like apparently now she's partially retired.
Oh,
And so you kind of have this, we're waiting for this big boom in China. And I feel bad. I mean, some people get really pissy on Twitter if you talk about the empty stadiums. It's like nobody's saying it's just women's tennis. It's just this is what we're seeing. This is our sport. But it is just the second year in Wuhan, and China's different. Like I lived in China 2 years. People don't take time off. You're not going to get an afternoon off to go watch tennis
yeah,
unless you're like working for one of the big companies. So I think that's another big part of it is that you're not going to see stands packed full even the first couple of days, but we don't see that every tournament anyway.
correct. Yeah,
And like
Mhm.
if you go to Indian Wells, are you sitting in the big stadium? Maybe not. Maybe you're on the ground. So just because it's the biggest stadium doesn't mean everyone's going to be sitting in their seat because there's other stuff to see and they're going to love to be outside watching practices, taking photos and selfies and whatever. So, sometimes the stadium does not really do justice to the number of people on site like anywhere.
yeah. No, that's true because I know at Cincy sometimes when it gets towards the end of the week, we realize that we haven't been on the main court for like days.
Right.
Because it's just like because there's so much going on, and it's like, well,
Yeah.
if you're gonna watch some top player double bagel some lower ranked player, it's like that's probably not where you're gonna be. You're gonna, go watch something that's a little more competitive or see a practice or something.
Yeah.
So that's true.
Yeah.
But and yeah, they kind of started with a U.S. Open sized stadium before they had gotten to that audience yet. So, maybe 5 years down the road, it's going to be more full once, because Cincy has gotten busier and busier just over the 5 years I've been going there. So they keep
Mhm.
breaking records every year of attendance. So, I mean, this could be the same thing. We can hope, because after,
Well, I don't think Wuhan has probably been exposed to a whole lot of tennis. So, understand, like, I mean, China is as big as the US is. And so, like, I think with Alaska, that's the only reason we're even as close to as big as China. So it's not like it's a 2 hour drive from Beijing. This is completely in southern, middle central China. I mean, it's hours and hours and hours. You would never drive there. So I feel like people need to realize that this is a completely new market. It isn't just China's all the same. Like China's freaking
right,
huge. So
right.
I kind of feel like just give it a chance, people. I mean, you know, the crowds will eventually kind of see year after year. Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, that tournament. But we just can't expect that like the first time that you have an event or second year is going to be like packed.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true. That's a good point. Because I actually hate that when other people in other countries think that New York is America. And they think
Oh
that
yeah.
how people act at the U.S. Open and
You
stuff
mean
is
it's
how
not?
it's like, do you realize how big a country this is? And then if they have any other ideas, it's LA, you know? It's like,
Right.
oh my God.
Oh, I know.
So at least you can go to Mason and you can see a little bit more more like how the Midwest rolls, you know?
Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
man.
So,
Oh, heck.
I think we can, yeah, I was gonna say we can go on to the next thing. This was an interesting thing that Serena's coach came out first and said he didn't think that Serena was going to be playing the rest of the year. And a lot of people were kind of skeptical because they sort of felt like he just likes getting into the press and, you know, makes good headlines and he gets to talk about himself. And but like 2 days later, Serena herself came out and confirmed that she's done. And she said she's carrying some injuries, and just after the U.S. Open loss, she just didn't feel motivated, which the injury thing I can understand more. It's kind of like, it's hard when you kind of like won tons of stuff and then you go, and I lost something, so well, fuck the rest of the year. Especially
Mm.
with the WTA finals, which I always consider kind of an honor. And so it seems like it really should be something big to skip that. That's just kind of my personal opinion. But obviously, if she's not physically feeling up to it, I wouldn't want somebody to, you know, injure themselves for next year.
Well, I'm going to jump in because I'm such a hardcore women's tennis fan, and I wish that Patrick would just shut the fuck up sometimes. It's so frustrating because all he did basically, like, yeah, there was already speculation that Serena wasn't going to be playing even just China, and some people thought, oh, she'll show up in Singapore, it's such a big tournament. But because Patrick basically gave all this information, that already puts a bad light on Serena. So like maybe
Right.
she was already planning on not playing because yeah, I mean she has had an elbow injury pretty much like half the year. And just because she hasn't talked about it so much, because if she does, then she's a bad loser. Because why would you talk about your injuries? She can never
Right.
win. But it just pissed me off that Patrick said this because then, like 2 days later, oh, well, look at that. Patrick, was right in that she's, not going to be playing. But I mean, I don't understand if she just doesn't care or just lets him do what he wants because I can't think that him talking to the press sometimes like he totally reveals stuff because I remember there was one time that she just doesn't want to talk about injuries and Patrick had told somebody and so when Serena found that out in presser she's like he did like found out that he had kind of been loose-lipped again but
Yes.
anyway I mean but here's my thing and like this is kind of not the same, but similar to what the Maria situation is with World Tour Finals. Where he had mentioned that, if it was going to be on like the Davis Cup final with Clay, maybe it'd be great if he would skip London and just focus on, World Tour Finals. And all of a sudden people are like, what? You can't do that. And, the ATP was forced to make a comment about it. But like, this isn't a prison. Like, these are
Yeah.
players on a tour, but like, people are so adamant, like, what? They have to play. It's like Serena doesn't have to play Singapore. Should she? I don't know. To me, she's had a hell of a year. She's had all this shit happen that we know about, with Indian Wells and all this, the injuries and sickness and all these crazy stories about, craziness, but still led to Grand Slam titles. But like, why who cares if she wants to shut it down? I mean, it's not like I mean, if it was just oh, she has a knee injury, okay, which was kind of like it was last year going into Singapore. People thought she wasn't going to play, and she did.
Right.
But like if she started being like I have a knee injury, are people going to believe her? I mean,
Right.
Maria's injured. She hasn't played much. Okay, does anyone question that she's really injured? I mean, obviously she skipped the U.S. Open, but I don't think Serena would skip it if she really felt like she was mentally and physically ready to be there. And isn't that what we expect of our athletes when they go to these tournaments? we think they're going to be ready to go. So if she's not going to be ready to go, then she said, bye, see you in January.
Right.
Blame Drake.
Blame Drake.
I know.
Blame it on Drake.
Oh, that's such a common theme, isn't it, right now? I love those headlines after the Open. It's like
Yeah.
Serena fans are blaming Drake, breaking on TMZ.
Yes, there's got to be somebody to blame. That's always got to be the
Right.
refrain. Oh,
Uh,
I love this.
I love this gift because I'm a huge Stephen Colbert fan. So when Valerie sent this to me, I just smiled so big.
This was during Tokyo because Aga was finally playing like the Aga we know and love again, and she won the title, doing awesome stuff like this. She won every match in straight sets, including the final against Bencic,
hmm.
and she was just amazing. And actually, in this match, Domi played a really good match too. So it wasn't like, a lot of times like the other person doesn't really show up, so then it's easier for you to do all your cool stuff. But Cibulkova played a pretty good match too, and everybody was really excited, as you tell from the previous animation, to see Aga doing well. I just really like watching her. She makes all the highlight reels all the time, even when she's not at her best. So when she's really feeling it, it's nice to see her. And she was actually, when she won the final, she was actually tearful, which you don't see that from her very often. She's kind of known as sort of a cool customer, but so it really meant a lot to her to have a really good tournament. And she's playing in Beijing this week too, which she won her first match by retirement, so in a continuing theme.
Oh, Asia.
Yeah. So I just wanted to cheer on Aga for a small. This is what I got out of Asia. And just before we go on to Vika, I just wanted to say too that the other thing that Tokyo had was an actual good match between Caro and Kerber, which is a matchup that people tend to make fun of a lot.
Yeah.
Because they're both like defensive players and they hit moon balls and blah blah blah, and sometimes the matches can be super super long and grinding, but this one was there were a few games that were like 15 minutes long, but they were compelling. They were both playing really hardcore, and there were a lot of winners, and it was like fast paced. They were both out of breath, and it was like a super battle out there. So, and then there were like usually the people that are all snide about it were even tweeting positive things about the match. So those were two good things after all the crap of Asia. I wanted to give some props. And so here's the Vika thing. Courtney, do you want to do this one?
Yeah, sure. So Victoria Azarenka in her press conference was asked about Genie Bouchard, and I'll set up the question. Genie Bouchard a couple months ago said, "Yes, these experiences are learning experiences, but I'm kind of sick of learning. I'd like to get over it and move on. Can you relate to that a little bit?" And Victoria Azarenka responded, which I think is a huge burn. I guess it depends on how you look at it. But she says, "Well, I didn't lose 11 matches in a row, so it's a little bit different of a learning experience she has with herself. I'm not in the position to comment on what she's done. For me, a learning experience is about adjusting my body. It's not learning experiences how to play on the court. I know really well how to play on the court and how to win matches. The important thing for me is to get my body fit 100% on a consistent basis. I have a lot of work to do. That's why I think my mind is a little bit thinking too much for the next year because I have a plan what to do already in my off season. I guess that kind of distracts me a little bit." Um, I thought that was a burn on Genie, and I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I did too.
Well,
Especially
I
the
will
first
say
part. Go ahead.
Sorry, we're over talking. I just feel like whoever asked this is brave because everyone I think's kind of danced around the whole Genie Sam Sumik situation with Vika. I really don't remember that she's really talked about it too much, and so the fact that she was asked anything about Genie, I don't think that's happened, since Sam dumped her, for Genie
Yeah.
back in January. But I I don't think she was going to be able to. I think she answered this about as nicely as she could, to be honest. Like, I don't think it's as bad as like, oh my God, that's so bitchy of her. Because, I mean, why would you ask her to compare like experience to someone that's like nothing to do with you, you know? I mean, Jeannie's not even there. Like, why even ask her that? So I feel like what she said generally was fine because I mean, really, she can't comment on it. So I think the only other nicer way to say that is just like, I'm not going to comment about Jeannie, but just in terms of losing. But I don't know. I feel like we could get so much shit for saying stuff, and I don't think this was actually that bad. But um, brave journalist for asking her anything about Jeannie.
Yeah, I do always think it's very weird when, I mean, I get why they, asked about Genie with everything that's happened, but I do think it's weird when journalists do kind of ask players about other players and it's not really relevant. Like, I think it's always a
Hmm.
very awkward situation, but I do think, she got a few digs in there.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like how Roger kind of gets taken to task for this. It's kind of a similar thing because Vika and Roger are very honest, and so if they say
Roger
like,
gets taken to task for something? What are you talking about?
"Oh yeah," on my timeline anyway,
Oh,
yeah, that they're very honest, and so if they say like this has nothing to do with me, why are you asking this question? They'll say it, where someone else might go, oh well, and even though that they think the question's stupid or whatever, they'll kind of be. I don't want to say that Vika and Roger are impolite, but they're a little more direct.
No, I love that. I wish more
Yeah.
players were like that. I don't think it's a bad thing. Like I think Vika, like I said, like I think it was a burn, but I wouldn't give Vika shit for it. Like I loved it. I read it. I was like, "Oh man."
And I guess you could look at it too in the way of it's not necessarily a burn on Genie as on maybe the question being asked, like,
Ah.
not the same situation. So, I mean, it's obviously Genie might take offense.
Yeah, I think, if someone says, "Oh, well, I haven't lost 11 matches in a row," so
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I think it could
Uh-huh.
be taken a little catty.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it wasn't meant nicely. I think we can
No.
eliminate that.
Yeah, I think she meant it, like, well,
But
I'm
my
a
other,
higher caliber.
yes, yes, I'm up here. She's down here.
Like she's Beyonce in this.
Yeah. The other thing that's been weird about Vika to me is that I don't know if there was any more information about that. She dropped that bomb in Cincinnati about she'd gotten a test taken and had gotten some kind of
oh
disconcerting
yeah.
news. Yeah, and then this kind of almost sounded like the same kind of thing again, where I have to learn how to change how I play with my body the way it is, and it seems like she's saying the same thing again, and it's like, what is it? What is, is it an injury or it's like to me she's worded things really oddly lately, and I don't know if she's ever gonna tell
But
us.
did you see that she got flat out asked about whether she thought she was like had extra weight on her right now? That was also in Wuhan. Did
No,
you see that? Oh, it was
no.
awful. Like, well, and actually, there was some discussion on my timeline about whether that really how she's an athlete, so we talk about bodies and but the way it was
Right.
phrased was kind of insulting, of course. It
Yeah.
talked about basically called her out of shape, which yes, I've said the same thing. She's not in the same physical state as she was a couple years ago when she was number one, winning slams in the top, number one or whatever, like I just said. But I mean, she's not in great physical shape. But yeah, I wonder what she has definitely said there's something going on. And I guess I didn't connect that with this quote here. But
Yeah.
yeah, what the heck is wrong with her?
Yeah.
Yeah, about the weight thing, I'm always so uncomfortable when people talk about their weight that aren't like their fitness coaches or something. You know what I mean? Like, I always think it's a very
Mhm.
like fine line of talking about their weight being respectful and, kind of crossing the line and I mean, commentators used to call Nalbandian a Teletubby
Oh,
because of
Yep.
his weight, and I always it's always so uncomfortable that I feel like I don't know if their intention really is as good as it is, and it depends on who's saying it and how it's done, and it does make me uncomfortable. I wish they just wouldn't do it.
yeah, especially because it always seems to be done in a bad way.
Yeah, it just comes off, regardless of their intention, it does kind of come off like, oh no, don't do
Yeah,
that.
right.
Don't
No, back up.
like
Oh,
don't yeah, back that up. Back that up.
well, and especially because I don't know, for me, for regular people, these people are so fit and tiny and thin that
No.
when they put on like 5 pounds and everyone's talking about, oh, they've gotten kind of
Mm.
chunky
Yeah,
and
and you're sitting there watching the match eating ice cream, like, what the hell?
yeah, exactly.
That is not fact. Like, and we don't see it. And we're like, what? That's freaking whatever, guys. Yeah. So, but staying with
Oh, the Vika theme,
this
yeah.
actual presser, Nick Kyrgios weighed in for no reason at all. Kyrgios, the thing about Kyrgios is he always responds to things that I don't expect him to respond to. Like, you don't have to
Oh,
respond to that. You could just ignore it. But anyway, so a fan asked him about Vika had asked about what she said in the presser, and he says, "Laugh out loud. They all talk. Bouchard gonna be at the top soon."
oh, I miss that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which then this caused like a big stir because there was a while when Kyrgios was flirting with Vika on Twitter. They
Oh yeah.
had a whole banter going. So then everybody's like, "Oh, what has he moved on to Genie now?" And then
Oh.
I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, Vika, Genie, and then Vekic, they're all like similar types.
Mm.
I thought he was with that one player who I just blanked on her name now.
Nick was dating a WTA'er?
Yeah, I was gonna say I
Where
didn't know about that.
no, where the one that they're always hanging out. Oh, I can't remember.
Keys?
Yes.
Madison?
Oh,
They're always together.
oh, they played, yeah, because
They
they
play
played
doubles
doubles
together. They're
together.
always posting pictures of each other on each other's Instagrams
Huh,
and stuff. They're always
yeah,
talking. I just assumed there was something there.
I
I
think
don't
it
know
was.
that, but they
Yeah,
could just be friends. I mean, I'm not starting rumors, but I just assumed there was something there.
Yeah,
But
you
anyway,
are.
you are now.
yeah. Well, no, I was asking. I was asking.
Yeah, yeah.
I wasn't
No,
stating facts.
I've never heard that that's anything more than them being friends. I don't remember hearing anything about Kyrgios's girlfriends or whatever, but I guess he doesn't talk about it like, oh no, he talked about his sex life. What am I
Yeah.
talking about? Of course he talked about it, but I don't remember
Yeah.
specific women mentioned from
Yeah,
him.
either
Yeah,
Just
no.
was.
mentions other people's girlfriends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so this made me laugh because it was
But
just kind of like out of nowhere. And I also love that it's King
Oh,
Curios. That says a lot
uh,
right there. With number ones instead of eyes. This is like the male equivalent of the woman that dots her eyes with little hearts and stuff. Or crowns, I
hey,
guess.
I have done that.
Well, there you
I have done that, and I will fight you right now.
go.
well, there you go. He's your people.
There you go. You do. You
He,
like Curios, so.
well, I, I don't always like Kieran. I don't always like how he acts, but
Exactly.
I do think he can be fun and fun to watch, but I don't always agree with how he acts. So that's a difference. But I do, I guess in this webcast, I guess I'm the one that most likes Curios. So yes, whatever. We're gonna hang out and we're gonna hang out one day.
Although the other thing was Curios, I don't know if it was in a press conference or he released a statement or
Oh my
whatever, but there was a big long thing about how Federer was his only tennis idol. and that he watches him on YouTube and all his old matches, and that he admires how he composes himself on and off the court.
What the hell's the point of saying that now after all the shit that he's done?
Right.
What's the point of saying that now? Oh, hey, by the way, Roger's my idol.
And Roger's probably going, I'm not taking blame for this shit. Get away from me.
Right?
I want no part of this. I mean, it had to be a total PR thing. It was just it was too much. Because, some of the other younger players, like, Isner loves Federer. I mean, it's like other guys have talked about it before, but to, like, just suddenly come out and go, oh, yeah, the way he's so classy. Like, oops.
Oh, funny.
So here's our night session potpourri.
Yes, and this next one is very interesting.
I have no idea what's coming.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This is
A little bit of everything.
a press conference in China where a journalist kind of went a little too fangirl boy. I'll let Valerie take this one.
Yeah, it was in China, and this journalist, and I'm doing Ryan Harrison air quotes right now.
Ha! That's Ryan Harrison.
Back to Ryan Harrison. That reminisced with Li Na about how they had asked a really fanboyish, silly question the last time that they talked to Li Na at a press conference. And it was kind of like, if you've seen that SNL sketch, where it was like, that one time when you were on the show and you were really awesome and you were great and wasn't that fun? It was Chris Farley used to do it.
Oh.
This was like the same kind of thing. It was like, remember when I asked you that question? And I've got 20,000 photos of you on my computer, and we made T-shirts of you. And Lena's just like, is this a question? So there was a lot of talk about this afterwards. People got into arguments about, should this person have even been let in? And then some people were saying in China they're more flexible about people being fanish as journalists. So we kind of wanted to talk a little bit about it. I feel like this was too far because I actually prefer people not being totally neutral, because I think it's boring, and a lot of press conferences are just so dull that I don't mind if people ask sillier questions or whatever. But this actually just like wasn't even a question. It was just someone slobbering for for 10 minutes, and that, I mean, there doesn't seem to be any reward in that. But I personally would kind of like to see. I don't know if the smaller tournaments are better, but I was shocked when I went to Cincinnati because I thought that press and players would be like a more collaborative environment. I was expecting the media center to be all bustling with players and doing interviews and all this kind of stuff, and when you get there, it's like completely separate. Like the players are rock stars, and you have to ask permission to look at them. If they're coming in a door when you're leaving, you get knocked down and shoved out of the way so that they can get past you. I don't think it's a good environment. It's
No.
I said a lot of times the press conference questions are boring. If people ask something that's a little sillier, they feel apprehensive about it. They're wondering if not only how is the player going to react to it, but are they going to get judged by all the other people in the room? So I don't know what you
I
guys
can tell you that I've felt like every little thing that you've mentioned, other than the fact that I've never like professed my love to a player or anything like that, like
Right.
this person did. But I will say that, I mean, I would think that China and the WTA would kind of say after the fact, like, okay, maybe this person shouldn't get credentialed if they're not actually going to be asking questions, because it's one thing to kind of be, tie it into a question, but if you're literally just proving to them that you're their fan, like that's
Right.
clearly the far side of what's acceptable. But I mean, I've only been to one tournament that had that mixed zone thing like they had like in DC. Every other tournament I've been credentialed for has been completely separate. That includes Cincy. That includes, I mean, where else have I gone? Oh, Madrid this year. I mean, they're always separate, and the only time that you're going to get anything outside of that is when you request the one-on-ones, which, typically, I mean, you have to have someone from the tour with you. So whereas in DC, they're completely like, I remember just interviewing Steve Johnson last year and just did a one-on-one, and we're just sitting there in the tent, public's walking by, very open. You just don't get that in many other tournaments. And so I don't know if the players are just used to that, but I agree with you that it can be pretty boring in press. And like, I'm guilty sometimes where I just sit in there and the fan in me just wants to go, and I don't necessarily have a storyline, but
Right.
sometimes like something might pop in my head, or sometimes it's all about observing the environment and trying to get confident to ask questions, because you're right, like everyone's going to remember if you fumble over your words or ask something stupid. So I think it's tricky, because I think for people that are impressors all the time, they do have their like established relationships with certain players,
Right.
and like players know them, and but there's also, I think, a lot of stuff that is never going to get asked because no one's brave enough, because you're going to ruin either like the tour will be mad, or you'll get like agents pissy. Like there's so much dancing around things in
Right.
tennis because we're so damn small.
Yeah. For me, this is such an interesting thing for me because I've been going to tournaments since 2009, and I just kind of fell into press, and I've always been just a fangirl, and I would go around at the tournaments for years and just, talk to players at the practice courts and ask for pictures and autographs and things like that. So it wasn't until, the last few years where I started to get press credentials, but still, like, sometimes I don't like referring to myself as a journalist because I think that sounds so odd. And sometimes I'll, joke with my friends and call myself a professional fangirl or a fangirl with a badge where I get to go around. But for me, I used to, follow Ernest around like a puppy and, talk to him at his practice courts, whatever. His whole team knew who I was. And over the years, I built up a good relationship with him. And, my first media credential, I went to Latvia and I, got to interview him there a little bit. But we have more of a personal relationship than the, you know, journalist player relationship dynamic because he hates press for the most part. And
Right.
it's funny because I went to Latvia and the one guy from Latvia was like, he's probably not going to give you an interview because he doesn't like doing that. Because he had no idea that we knew each other and Ernest, I had talked to him about me starting to do press and he was very encouraging of it. His mom used to follow my blog and stuff like that, so they've always been very supportive of me kind of making that transition. And in my experience, Ernest has seemed to like me better when he knew that I knew who he was and I knew about his team and I had followed it. And I think this here went way too far in China. I think, but I think if you just kind of make it known, like, hey, I'm a fan of you, and maybe compliment him on something or, you know, do something small that they kind of know, like, you followed them before and you have followed their career. And I think they appreciate that because I think there's this impersonal dynamic with press and players. And Tennis Atlantic Steen Kirby and me were talking about this one day, and he was saying how there are some journalists that will sit down and just start doing questions and won't even say, hey, how are you to the player, or it's just
Right.
business. And you know I think it should be a little bit more personal and should be a little bit more fun and playful. And I think you will get better answers from the players if it, is more of a collaborative thing and not so separate and stuffy and things like that. So I would like to see more of, you know, an easier time with them. And, I started, which I will mention this later, but I started working with Outside the Ball. And what I like about them is they do a lot of comical videos. They don't really, do straight interviews. They do a lot of fun things, so you get their personality and things like that. And I would love for it to be more playful where you can kind of see their personalities more and kind of have that connection.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like I talked about this the last time because I was my flip-flop story about Roger. The,
Yes.
the press in Cincy when Roger comes in is deathly silent. It's like when he comes on the court, it's like a hush falls over the room, and then here comes Roger. And so it's like this, just this, the king has come in. It's like you got to kiss the ring before you ask a question, and it's like, and Roger's usually pretty nice about answering questions and stuff. He'll give lengthy answers and everything, so it's not like he's like a terrible person to deal with, but there's just that oppressive feeling where you're like, if I want to ask him boxers or briefs, this doesn't seem like the right time to do it. But it's like, but when is the right time? Because you're, especially with the, higher ranked players, the odds of getting a one-on-one with them for most journalists is pretty slim. So, I mean, it would be kind of nice if players could come in and you can go, hey, hot stuff, how's it going? And just have it be more relaxed instead of, oh, mighty player, may we please ask you a question? So,
I want to think that's a really good point because I've definitely sat in a lot of pressers, and I have been credentialed to the U.S. Open a couple years, so I mean, it's no different, probably like I worked the Auckland tournaments in New Zealand where I used to live. So I've been in really small pressers and really big ones, but there's something about the way like the ATP staff, the WTA staff, they look so damn serious, and especially on the ATP.
yes.
Like the ATP guys look so damn intimidating. Like I will say, I mean, Eloise from WTA and Cincy was very nice, and the funniest presser, the probably most relaxed one shouldn't have been because it was Maria when she came in after withdrawing because of injury. And she was
Yes.
sitting there with her friend who works for the tour now, and like there was a problem with the microphone, and I mean Maria was smiling, and it just felt so much more relaxed than
Yes.
any other circumstance. But I agree, sometimes I feel like the dynamic sometimes is so serious. I'm like, this is tennis, come on, like we're not, this isn't some like high in-depth level political meeting or something. Like, why does this have to be so serious? And if you look at the way the ATP particularly, and I'm a huge WTA fan, but I certainly have sat in plenty of pressers. They look mean. They look like they're literally like a bodyguard at a club, and they're ready to kick your ass if you do something wrong. That to
Yes.
me is just not the right attitude to have.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. This year was there were a couple times when whoever was doing it was a little bit better. And I remember actually during Stan's press conference where he was kind of getting asked a lot of the questions about the Kyrgios thing, and the moderator was like looking around the room desperately for like anybody to ask some other kind of question. So they were like really friendly then. But it's like, yeah, sometimes it's just like two more questions and you're out. And it's like, well, there's only been 4 questions asked. It's like it just feels very stifling, and I think the players feel that way too. And I guess it's probably not easy for them either. You come and sit out on this stage with lights on you and 25
Mhm.
people looking at you expectantly. So maybe it's just like the setup needs to be different or something, where it feels more relaxed. But I think it's probably what it is. It's a hard thing to control because you have so many different kinds of people, especially because tennis is international. And so, you have a lot of journalists who just try to twist players' words and stuff when they do ask questions. And so then players get really wary. And so then they're not comfortable in press conferences. So even if you personally tried to make things better, they might not be open to it. So it's kind of like it'd be something that has to be like a big widespread change, I think, to really get it to a point where we would enjoy it more.
Yeah, and like you see a difference when a journalist goes in there and goes, "Congratulations on your win," and then the player's like, "Well, I lost." And
Yeah.
then as opposed to someone who,
Yeah.
knows them and is a fan of them and is there for them, and I think they feel a lot better. And I think they're like, "Hey, this person's here for me. I'm in a safer place. Like I'm in a more loving place." And I think
Right.
it would be really great if there was more kind of playfulness and just love and not so much business.
Yes. We
I was
want
just
love, not business. I like that.
I was just going to say, like, one of the problems I think is because for the players, it's like, they win their match or they lose their match, and they have, they want to shower or they need to do their cool down and eat. And, like, so doing press to them is sometimes like a drag, and some of them are good at showing that it's not, like they don't feel like it is. But that's the thing, is like it's not like of everything they need to do that this is something they're like, oh yay. And so who knows, maybe if we can change, well, or not if we can, like the three of us, but if but like
Let's do it.
if it can somehow become like a less much of a
Painful.
drag or something, like, yeah, then maybe the players wouldn't hate coming so much, because if they're not getting asked anything, like the whole thing with Serena, after she lost to Vinci, and she went into press like 13 minutes after she left the court. She was in there for like 3 or 4 minutes, and she was just like, I'm doing this because it's part of the job, but like you're not asking me anything else, that you're asking me the same question, so I'm not going to be like, oh, I'll just answer them all again. But if we can, if the environment changes, then maybe players would be a little bit less like uptight themselves, and a little bit more
Yeah.
relaxing. But I think there's a lot that would have to change. But I like the idea of being like, "What's up, bitch?"
Yes.
It's been like
I think the
just bring
players.
it down a couple notches.
No, I think the players would love it. I think we all have nicknames. We're all like
Yeah.
just joking around, and I think it's more like a conversation as opposed to an interview. And I think, that's always what I've
Yeah.
wanted. So we'll see. Maybe things will change down the line. You can only hope.
This photo is so amazing.
Yeah, I'll let Valerie take this one because
There was a lot of talk about this. A lot of people retweeted this because the China Open official Twitter was very excited that Rafa was arriving in Beijing with this, weird dude in the background that, we don't know who he is. He's just, the #1 player in the world. We don't know who's that guy.
and they never did one for
Oh,
Novak.
And they did not do a separate
oh
one
no.
for Nole. So it was just, I mean, and it's not like he's like way in the background where you could kind of understand maybe they missed him. I mean, he's right there. And there are like hundreds of other pictures of the two of them together at all of these events. So it's not like you didn't know that they arrived
This
together.
is this is what happens when you go gluten free. People don't even notice you.
Yeah, exactly. So thin. It just, they just looked right past him. He turned sideways. So it's funny because last week we just talked about this whole thing about, is it overblown that Nole doesn't get as much love as the other players, and is it fair, unfair, or whatever? And then it's like then this tweet comes out where it's just like, he's at home going, Marsha, 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 just cannot believe they don't even know who I am again.
It's like when at that award ceremony where they said Roger was #1 and Roger had a point to Novak and went, and Mola
Oops.
dying in the background.
Yes. And Nole looked like he wanted to kill someone, but he
Yeah,
had to
he
pretend to think it was
It
funny.
was such a forced, like, yeah, so funny.
I know where you live,
Mm.
Roger. I'm going to kill you in your sleep.
Oh my gosh.
So, oh wait, I was going to talk about Rafa just a teensy bit.
Yep, go for it.
They've been asking Rafa a lot about his less than stellar year by his standards. Really, they haven't been that fabulous by anyone's
Yeah, I
standards.
was gonna say, I was like, you're being generous there.
Yeah. They try to show some respect to Rafa. But it's been disturbing to me, the kind of answers that he's been giving, which it's typical of him, but he kind of did this whole speech about all of the people in his team are all perfect and wonderful and they've done nothing wrong, and he won all of his stuff with the same people, and so there can't possibly be anything that they're doing wrong. It's all him. And that all he needs to change, there's only one thing, he needs to just start playing like he did when he was winning.
Just play better. Just be
play
better.
Just be better. Be better at your game. It's like, when you've got all this talk about how Roger at 34 is still trying to come up with cool shit like Saber and whatever, he could do, but it's just whatever he can do to still keep winning with diminished physical capacity or, different style of game or whatever, that he's like, I have to change something because what I'm doing isn't working. And it's kind of disturbing to me how often Rafa goes, well, I just need to do the same thing better. I've obviously just been failing at being my usual awesome self. And I feel like he's setting himself up for heartache.
Do you think he really believes that though? Because a lot of the shit players say. I mean, what are they supposed to say? Like, yeah, my team should leave even though I've won 14 Grand Slams. And, it's not like Wozniacki where everyone's like, oh, ditch your dad. And then all of a sudden, look, she's in a Grand Slam final and she's top 5 again. They're like, oh, but she's playing better. And then all of a sudden, she's back. But, for him, like, it's been last year, that's noticeably bad. But, I mean, he's had so many layoffs. Like, I don't know. I don't think that it's automatically his team's fault. So I think he's right in that. Like, who are you going to blame? You going to blame everyone around you, or are you going to blame yourself if you're not playing good?
Yeah, yeah, I definitely agree with, like, don't throw your people under the bus. But a lot of times people change coaches just because that person has taught you everything they know. And if it's not working, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's their fault. It's just like sometimes you just need a fresh pair of eyes. It's like someone else can come in and go, well, maybe you should try this. And because, I mean, Roger won a slam with Annacone, and he still switched over and started working with Edberg. And both of them have, they've never said, well, it was Annacone's fault why he didn't win any more slams after that. So I just feel like he's too rigid. I don't think it's just like PR stuff. I think he really believes that it's just like, I'm flawed and my uncle's come up with the perfect game plan for me when I was 12 and I'm just not doing it right anymore. And so that's why I'm not winning. And so it's just, I could like to hear a little bit more from him about, he doesn't even have to explain it. He could just say, well, there's a few things in my game I think I need to change up, or, my knees don't bend as far as they used to, which everyone can see. So I need to, change how I move on the court. I mean, Vika even, that was her big, long response about how she's got to learn how to get her fitness back to where, it works for her game. So it worries me that the rigidness that he has that just like also puts a lot of pressure on himself that I think is unrealistic. Because it's like, yeah, I wish I could move like I did when I was 18 too, but as an athlete, you have more of a shot of doing that, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, age is different to different players, and who knows, the mind's getting more fragile. But, I mean, it's different, though, I think, when it's your family versus whether it's people that you paid. Because same thing with, like, the Williams sisters and all these other people that work. Caroline Garcia works with her dad, and, Jacob Yankovic has gone, she's to her brother kind of being her main coach. But, it's different when Tony's been the only coach Rafa's known. And same thing with Wozniacki. I mean, she's brought on other consultants, and Rafa has, other consultants too, but, I think it's just a lot harder when it's your family member. So, whether it's good or bad, it's just, yeah, I mean, I'm a huge Rafa fan, but I don't like sometimes I just wish he wouldn't divulge as much as he does in general. It's just like, you don't have to give, like, a 500-word answer about your psyche, like just you can keep a few things close to, be like his booty twin Serena. Like, you don't have to, you can just keep a closed lip. They're the booty siblings, man. I even brought up butts.
Yeah,
see? Aren't I
because I was like,
aren't I a good
you nailed it.
Anyway, woo, I passed the test. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. I mean, Rafa's still in the top 10. He's still going to be in London. Yeah, it's not been a fabulous year, but again, same thing when Federer was starting to slip. It's like, well, you set the bar high, so everything else looks like you suck.
Right.
But, I don't think it's the most dire thing. But if that's it for him, 14 slams is not bad, so we'll see.
Yeah. He just doesn't have to cry himself to sleep every night over his career, that's for sure.
No.
No, I'm done, so we can, yeah. Oh, this was Stan at Davis Cup. His little daughter came and played some tennis with him, and
look at her waving.
I loved, there was like several videos from this where every time she made a shot over the net, people would cheer, and then she would turn and throw her arms up with the victory, embracing her audience. So she's like, she's got the tennis going, and then she's got the paying tribute to her fans
The
already.
showmanship.
Got the showmanship, so she was totally
How
adorable.
old is she now?
You know what? I honestly have no idea.
She kind of looks like 5 or something. She
Yeah, I
looks
was gonna say
tall.
she looks about 6.
Okay.
I was guessing around 6, something like that.
Does she have a Stan the Man shirt on?
She's got some. She does have his name on it. I think it might have been a Davis Cup shirt with Wawrinka on the back. I think that was
okay.
on some of the other pictures.
Cute.
Yeah, totally adorable. And then the cynical part of me was, saying to everyone, "Look, he found his child after he abandoned him."
Oh.
Because that's what everyone kept saying, and it just made me so angry. Whereas
I was gonna say, I can't believe you even said it.
yeah, it just made me so mad because and it's like most people have been normal, but there's always the idiots who, go on these rants and stuff. It's like divorce does not equal abandonment. It's like I have divorced people in my family. I have divorced friends. It's like it really makes me angry when people say stuff like that. So it was really, and his ex-wife was there too. So I mean, it was like a really, really nice thing. And there were lots of pictures of her. She's just so adorable. And she kind of has his nose. She's got the girly version of the little turned up nose. So we can go to the next. I did a lot of Stan stuff. I did Stan updates, but this was really funny.
Valerie is so jealous of this man.
This was in the middle of a match. In
oh my
France.
God.
And I don't remember if they actually, I don't know if it was during a changeover or something, because somehow I missed it, and then everybody started talking about, did you see the massage? And I was like, what? So then that animation came out, and it was pretty sure it was during the Dustin Brown match, because that was a really, really tough match. It was actually great. By the end of it, they were both playing so well. It was really phenomenal. And he needed even more of a massage because he rolled his ankle during the match, and then he had to withdraw. So that was just more suckage in this part of the year. So, but I don't even know. I didn't see like the whole thing, so I don't know if Stan was just hanging out, and because I know he was talking to these people several times during the match. Stan likes to chat with the crowd, with the umpires, with everyone. So I guess maybe when he leaned back, this guy said, "Hey, I'll help you out."
Hey, sup, bitch? Want a massage? Like,
see, press conferences could be like this. This is what we're
like,
talking about.
Exactly. We'll give them massages as we're asking questions, like full service press conference.
Yeah, which actually, this is funny because this reminds me now of, I remember thinking this when I was more of a fan, when Rafa had that thing in press where he cramped up and he was really in serious pain and he like fell out of the chair.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that all those people in the press conference just sat there and watched it happen. And I was like, how could you not like run up there and see if he was okay? Or and it was like, it's back to that same environment where it's like, you can't touch the player, you can't go near him, you can't cross this line or you'll be shot dead by security.
If that was Ernest, I would be there.
Well, that's what it is. It's kind of like, how, I don't, it seems like it would be so hard to see somebody suffering and that you would just like sit there and take pictures of it. Maybe I just don't have the right journalistic personality, but I'd take a picture of it and then run up there,
Yeah.
The best of both worlds.
Well, I think this is a kind of fan engagement that the tours really need to work on getting more of.
I'm for it.
Like, I mean, I think it's screw that. Like, oh, you can keep the ball that flies out of the court. Nope. How about if you catch an errant ball, you can go give a massage to the player or something. I mean,
oh God, people would be killing each other for them.
Right? But no, I think I missed this. I don't even know what tournament this was because I am sleepwalking through the Asia Swing. Was this in St. Petersburg?
No, this was whatever the France one was. Was that Metz? I think it's.
Oh, yeah, I paid that no mind. I was busy.
I was following family, so that was, a lot of stuff has blown past me, but
no, that's pretty memorable.
Yeah. So we can go to the next Stanley.
Oh,
This is just random Stanley happiness. Davis
oh God.
Stan with a reindeer.
I love how like Valerie's all like, "Yay!" Steph's all like, "Oh
Oh my
God."
god. Ugh.
I'm like, it's Stan and a deer. How did I miss that on Instagram?
I know. It's so, well,
Actually, if you go to OutsideTheBall.com and look at their top tens, I included this picture and with quite a funny joke. I won't tell it here. You have to go see what my joke is.
okay, good. Because I was gonna tell you to tell it, but see, we'll leave the suspense going.
No, like go. I mean the views. Get my views up. But
Yeah, we could actually we can do like a whole farm collection of pictures for Stanley because he's posed with a horse, an elephant,
a cow.
a deer.
Oh Lord.
Stanley, I'm sure. Oh, dogs too. There's been dogs too. So
Oh.
Stan is a friend of the animal kingdom.
That's good. I am too.
Yeah, and then we always love all the Davis Cup stuff because all the boys like hug and kiss each other and
Take selfies.
take selfies and act like idiots and
They do. They really do, and it's amazing.
yes, and especially Stan, who is often like not necessarily in the best frame of mind or whatever. It's fun to actually see him happy, like ooh, happy Stan. So we can move on.
No, I love this. I made sure Valerie included this because this is my favorite Stan thing ever.
Yeah, this is the compare and contrast from the previous. We had Happy Stan, and then this is Stan, where I tweeted this, where he was like, "Someone dig a hole, let me climb into it, let me escape."
That photo on the left, he looks terrified.
He looks terrified. I mean,
Poor Stan. Give him Bambi back. He needs him.
Yes. He needs to be holding like a little blankie or something when he goes to these events because it's just, I recognize this one on the right too because I know I do that where you just grip your arm until you like stop the circulation because you're just so nervous. But they said this was like a fan event and so he had to talk and mingle with fans, which apparently terrifies him. You have no idea what those people are going to ask. So,
yeah, definitely. Fans could be cray-cray.
Which goes back to what we were talking about before. See, Stan would be a hard sell for that more casual environment, apparently. So, but actually, I mean, like Davis Cup press conferences, actually, they do get animated and joke around a lot. I don't know if they're more comfortable when it's international press. Maybe they're just stuffy when they're in America. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, we
Press
just
is
wanted
weird.
to point out how uncomfortable poor Stanley was.
He does. I laughed so hard when I saw this on my timeline, and I immediately tweeted Valerie, and I was like, we gotta include this. That's hilarious. Poor thing.
But I was happy because when he used to be on Twitter, I used to tweet him sometimes like snarky stuff about he used to show up to stuff like this like in a white t-shirt and like crappy shorts or something, and so I would tweet like Stan forgot to get dressed. So I'm very happy to see he's got a nice shirt and dress pants on. So we're proud of you, Stan.
He didn't want you to fashion police him.
Exactly. He didn't want to let me down. I think he's worn the same outfit for like 2 years, but we won't quibble.
Aside from me choking,
Oh my god.
we're also doing Insta Goodness, which is like our quick fire round, just mentioning some cute things that happened. Up first, Jack Sock made his cat do the whip and nay-nay, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with the whip and nay-nay, but it's the new dance craze all the kids are doing.
Unfortunately, yes.
It's,
Yeah, see, I was in the dark on it. Courtney
Uh,
explained it to me. And I've got this great, rendition of it, so now I can practice it at home.
oh, you're lucky people around you.
I just love how he's dying at the end of
I
it.
know, he
too.
can't. He's definitely more amused than the cat.
Yeah, the cat's just like, what the hell, man? Knock it off.
The cat would rather do the Macarena.
Or just go back to licking himself.
Yeah, there oh, stuff
Oh.
much and good stuff. Speaking
Oh
of,
my God.
Yeah, right? Okay. So I don't know what's going on here, but it's a lot going on. And also I want to kind of draw attention to the gondola in the background and how there's probably like a lovely couple in there on a romantic date and getting a whole view of that crotch area.
the more tennis bulge.
Okay, who's taking this photo? I gotta ask. Who's he with that would take
We
that
don't
photo?
know because they're
Oh
we
my
have
God.
last
But
week of
but
him
the thing
with
is
the same
it's not
outfit on.
it's not just the person taking the picture, it's that he posts it on Instagram.
You know,
Is it?
someone hacked his phone clearly. Jesus, Benoit.
This
Oh
is
no,
Benoit.
he
Benoit's
knew.
going, I look very good, no?
No, he's
Like,
going.
what's this?
And he has like the
Oh.
microphone emoji with that, and I'm pretty sure that's something else.
Yeah, why is it? It's pandas.
It's
Pandas.
Fandom music microphone, so I'm assuming he's listening to music. But I don't know. I think that microphone means something else, and I think he knows what that
my
is.
God. And he's
Are
got,
they dirty white shorts and it's because he's got black and white on or something? Because I'm missing the panda
I
and the
don't
microphone.
He
I got no clue.
I
loves
don't know.
pandas. I will show you right now. He is all about the pandas and the panda emojis.
Oh God.
All lately, if you look through his Instagram, he is huge on the panda emojis, and it's amazing because I love pandas. Oh, look at this! Look at this
I mean,
shot
who
right
hates
here.
pandas? I mean, pandas are adorable, but
We
I
just
don't know
know
what that has to do with.
Oh,
that
he's
I don't
out
know
here.
either because he's clearly not in Asia in this picture.
He's
No.
hung like a bear. I don't know.
He will. I don't know. He will show you his bamboo. That's for sure.
Oh. I love how he's holding the ice cream just so sexily too.
Yeah,
Like, hey, look at. Oh my God.
I know he's great. If you're not following him on Instagram, do it. It's amazing. Like you never know what's gonna pop up. All right, we'll move on. Okay, first of all, I just want to say, how terrifying is this chair?
It is.
It's terrifying, and
Oh, it's creepy shit.
I'm sure it's for something, I don't know, starving children. I don't know. What is it for? I don't know. I assumed it was maybe for something,
Yeah, probably.
you
Yeah,
know,
for charity
touching.
or something.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it's something touching, but they keep having players like smiling and sitting in this chair, and it is the most terrifying fucking thing I have ever seen in my life.
I
It's
think
like, go
I
ahead.
think they're sitting down blindfolded so they have no idea what's behind them.
Maybe.
Because seriously, who would sit on that?
There's so many players just sitting there
Uh,
smiling casually, like ignoring the creepy children behind them. Like, it looks like a horror movie. Like they just sat down and it was a regular couch, and then they just like came up and they're just like
Right.
that. The one in the middle is like, oh, that he's gonna die in a second,
Oh.
and like. They don't know, but they're gonna die. Like it is terrifying. Like someone needs to make a horror movie out of this. And I'm sure I apologize. I'm sure it's like something touching,
Right,
and,
exactly.
inspirational. But all I can think of, there's creepy children, and like these guys are gonna die, and they're too cute to die. They're too cute. They're too young. Save them. Someone save them.
Yes, that Djokovic's brothers are extremely hot.
I'm sorry, what? I'm only can see there's only one brother there that's hot, and that's the guy in the middle.
Yeah,
Mm. The other two, like, no, pass.
Really?
Yeah,
I
no.
think
Yeah.
they're all very handsome.
The guy on the right looks like he's 12, so that he's
Well, yeah,
too young for me.
Georgie is 20 now, I believe.
Oh yeah, so he's
And,
a baby. Oh,
Yes, the boy in the middle is the hottie, which is why he's in the middle. He's
which
the
is funny
social
because
That's
I think
true.
he looks a lot like Novak, just with more hair.
Oh, he's got
The
better
face
hair.
is the
for sure.
same. The face is the
I mean, you can see they're brothers. I'm just I think I'm more zeroed in on the shoes that the younger one's wearing.
Yes,
What are those?
I like them.
They're funky. I'm just like,
Yeah,
I don't
they're
know what
crazy.
brand that is.
Yeah, they almost look like they're woven.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
that kid on the right side's looking at those shoes like,
Yeah.
oh damn,
If I
those are
bite off
some
his food, I can
those
get
are some neat sneaks.
God.
But yeah, this is
Oh.
fucking terrifying. I can't look at this
We're
anymore.
going to hell now.
All right,
Let's
now
move on.
I picked these for a reason. First of all, Valerie freaked out because she loves Lucas, and we had
My
him in
poopy.
the tunnel
In the
in
tunnel.
one of our episodes. But of course, Dominic and Lucas look very beautiful. But the reason I pinpointed this is for all the Ernest fans. I know I talk about him a lot. Kind of like he's all I watched for like 8 years. So Gunther Bresnik is over here, and although this should probably be Team Bresnik, I kind of think Dominic Gunther. I always call them Team Gulbis.
Yeah.
And the thing that really struck me is Batista Agut is sitting
Yes.
there in Team Gulbis, and everyone knows, Ernest
Oh,
and
that's
him do
right.
not get along, and he is the spoiled princess. And I'm like, how did he sneak into a Team Gulbis picture? How did that happen?
Oh,
That's
that is
just
funny.
chaos and just.
Yeah, they haven't played each other lately, so maybe they've gotten over their
Oh,
mutual
I don't know.
dislike. But it was pretty intense, so I don't
They do not like each other.
know. Maybe he's there for Luca, so that I couldn't blame him for that.
Maybe, but I did think that was funny that like
Yeah.
I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, look at Team Gulbis, even though it's it should be Team Bresnik, and there's Batista Gut, and he
Yeah.
snuck in there.
It's just to spite Ernie when he sees this picture.
I know.
Ah, it's a photo
Oh,
bomb, really.
It
He
is.
wasn't
It's
actually
a photo
there.
bomb.
He just dove in.
Exactly. It's a spoiled princess photo bomb. All right, this is my favorite thing in the world. This is my favorite thing that we've ever
Oh
talked about
God.
in the entire webcast. Anything. So Kevin Anderson posted this video of him rocking out at what looks like a park with like Cartman from South Park on the stage. I have no idea what the hell is happening, but I just know I want to go there and I want to be front row.
And like the outfit, like
Oh God.
Like, look at the sandals, and he's
Oh.
rocking that guitar, and he looks like he's wearing a parachute, and it's amazing. That is rock and roll right there, baby. Like frickin' 80s going on around him. I have no idea what this is.
oh,
Like,
he
I have
said
no
it's a
idea why.
hazmat suit,
Oh, a
which is
hazmat suit.
even scarier.
That doesn't look like a hazmat suit. That looks like it came from the 80s
Yeah.
in a music video or like something MC Hammer would have in his closet. I don't know.
And they have one spectator.
Dude, it should have all the spectators. This should
That looks
sell
like
out.
Cindy. It looks like Cyndi Lauper in the back.
Yeah, right.
Oh, come on. Cyndi Lauper don't look like that much of a wreck. Come on.
Yeah, right.
But in the 80s, though, with her hair, I mean, because this is all very time warped. But why did Cartman melt? Like,
I don't know. Like, everything about this is just cray cray, and it's amazing, and I love it. And like, I think this should sell out arenas. Like, this is like I've never not liked Kevin Anderson, but I've never paid attention to him. This is how you make me pay attention to you. You get up
oh
on stage,
yeah.
play a guitar with a random Cartman and people that came out of pop-up video from the 80s on VH1 Classic, and let's do this. Like, I am so excited by this. This is my favorite thing ever, and I can just talk about this forever, but I won't. I'll stop. I just want everyone to know, like, I dig it. Oh, big news.
Oh, help.
Anna got a new girlfriend, and I'm not gonna say anything bad about her. I'm sure she's lovely. But I will say that his fans are just crying. They're heartbroken. They did not take this well at all.
No. And she's also 24 and
She's
he's
24 and
18,
18. That's not too bad.
which is not.
Yeah, but she doesn't look 24.
No,
she
she
looks
looks older
30. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was. Yeah. I was
Go ahead.
scrolling down her Instagram, and clearly the girl likes the Botox and duck lips because that's all I see.
Yeah.
So, hopefully he's having fun because that's what you're supposed to do when you're 18. But hopefully the next girlfriend looks a little bit less like, a mother type because she looks really old to me.
Yeah.
compared
Well,
to his baby face.
yeah, it's tough too because I'm like that where I'm 25, I'm almost 26, and no one thinks I'm over 15. So I get the whole like looking like a baby and dating people that like are not
Okay.
that much older than you, or even like
Mm.
I've dated people younger than me and people thought they were older than me.
Hmm.
So I get it, but his fans, I don't know, we don't have his Instagram, but they're brokenhearted.
Oh,
They're
on his
really
Instagram
brokenhearted.
they were
Yeah.
going off about it? Oh.
Yeah, where he posted pictures of her and they were just crushed. The devastation was strong with this one.
Well, he's probably learning a lot, so
Ah!
his next
Oh,
girlfriend will be
he
very
is learning
happy.
a lot.
Oh.
So Valerie wanted to showcase this. His girlfriend posted this where it
Yeah.
was show a girl you. Sorry, you can read it if you want.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Show a girl you don't care and she'll chase you. Show a woman you don't care and she'll replace you. I actually really like that.
Exactly. They're showing that that's why he's dating her, because she's a woman.
Yeah, she's a real woman. Like
She's
you
a real
better
woman.
you better recognize.
Yep. Good one.
All right, we'll move on. Oh, I thought this was. I'm not gonna lie. I first saw this. See how the bench kind of tips? I seriously thought he was gonna tip his ass over, and I got so afraid because I didn't know what this was. I was so afraid he was gonna go face first.
Yes, and for me, this was just porn. That was all that I saw. When this was just Roger stretching, and the cameramen were great at some of these tournaments. It's like a lot of times they just go away and they show you stupid people in the crowd that you don't want to see. But
Oh, I know. I hate that.
we gotta. Especially hate it when they do it during handshakes. They cut out like right before they go for the handshake and show somebody in the crowd, and it's like, no, we want to see the drama.
Yeah.
Was it a good handshake or bad handshake? But it's like we definitely want to see all the butt shots.
You know what I just noticed? You see those girls coming through the entryway?
Yeah.
From far away, in just a second, those look like Hooters uniforms.
Yes.
I just now noticed that.
They do.
Yeah. From
Well, that's
far
kinda
away,
what-
and if you just glance, they look like Hooters
Kind
uniforms.
of what those girls are like at these tournaments. I can't stand when they have them stand behind the chair like a billboard, and I have like a really personal offensive thing to that because it's never guys. If they had girls and guys doing it, it wouldn't be as bad. But it's always just women are meant to be decoration. We'll just plant you over here, and everyone will stare at your chest for our logo. It's just But I'm staring at Roger's ass, so
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I think we lose our credibility sometimes. Because we're just like, how dare you treat women like meat? Now look at Federer stretching and showing it. Like, I feel like we lose our credibility like halfway through.
Well, my thing is always I'm evening it out because it's like women have been objectified for
Seriously.
a billion years. It's like so I can talk about Roger's ass. Just like I like when Wertheim always gets put out about the male players being treated as sexual objects. He gets all like weirded out and offended, and meanwhile he's writing this on Sports Illustrated that has all pictures in the columns about best cheerleader shots and look at cleavage from sportswomen, and it's just like the same thing. It's like, yeah, your credibility is it's okay if it's women. I mean, you can't talk about men that way.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can move on to the next one. We've seen Roger's ass enough.
This is weird, literally.
Genie retweeted this herself.
Yeah, someone's an armpit fetish, apparently. I do not have an armpit fetish.
Yes, and the pictures are really, she like her arms are really bulging out and stuff. So they were.
Oh yeah, those are.
So I'm guessing maybe that's what they're attracted to, is strong woman.
I
don't
think
know.
that it's less about the word sexiest and armpits than those emojis.
Yeah, the licking. Yeah.
The licking emojis, like that to me was what sent it over the edge. The rest of it was like, yeah, there's weirdos, but the tongue emojis.
I think
with the liquid.
I think it was trying to do drooling. I think that's what it was supposed to be.
Yes.
I'm drooling over these armpits, which is still a weird thing. I mean, hey, whatever you're into, that's fine. But yeah, the licking, that's kind of. the image that you get from
There's a
that.
lipping. There's an iPhone anyway. There is a lip licking emoji. So maybe this is an Android. But
Yeah.
either way, I'm glad that Genie decided that everyone needed to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. She's just like, this is weird, but
That's
you
what I was
guys,
like. Well, she felt okay sharing it. I guess we
Yep.
can.
this is
And-
weird, but
Yeah.
you guys, like, I do have pretty sexy armpits. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, man.
bam. Oh,
There's not a part of me that men don't like. Is what
yeah.
I'm telling you. I am just perfect from head to toe.
There's not a part of me men don't want to lick.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
I wish I had sound effects for this, man.
You have to make your own.
Yeah.
There are no panda emojis in
Oh, Lord.
Goodness.
Hmm.
All right, this next one, we're still gonna keep it weird.
Oh, that's right.
So, Robert Lindstedt, if you don't follow him on Instagram, you really should, because he is a national treasure. And all I can say about this is free the nipple, man. Free the nipple.
Yeah. And I like he says, covering my nipples for your protection. It seems my right nipple is lower down than my left, though. I should probably see a doctor about that. It's just like, no, that's normal.
Yeah, I like
My-
the person commenting, saggy boobs
Yes.
is part of getting older.
Oh,
Embrace
no.
it. I don't know what the Apple emoji is, although that
I
could just
know.
be on my laptop.
He said,
No, I see it
or
too.
replace it. He also
Oh,
said, or
God.
replace it. So,
Yeah, I did see this picture. This isn't one that I missed, but I do agree that Lindstedt is, you never know what you're going to get with him on
No.
Instagram. He
No.
is hilariously random, and it's usually pretty freaking funny. Isn't he the one that Instagram, like, either broken, like, about breaking all his rackets after a loss once, and, like, he's just always kind of
Yeah.
making fun of a lot of different things. So, yeah, this photo did not escape my view, thankfully, because it's a treasure. For
Yeah,
sure.
he's great. I mean, he's so great because one moment it's just like normal tennis stuff, and the next it's just he's being absolutely ridiculous and funny, and he has great comedic ability. And yeah, so if you're not following him, you really need to because he's just amazeballs. And this is next one's for Valerie.
oh, my
We meant,
boy.
we meant to post this 3 weeks ago if you couldn't tell, but we forgot about it, so we're bringing it back.
Yes, I tweeted this when I said this is what I get when I ask to see Christian back on a tennis court. I'm gonna have to start asking for more things. Needless to say, that's one of my tweets he did not reply to. But I like the hashtags are this one's for the girls, and then hashtag maybe if the abs were better.
Oh,
But do you see what Dennis Kudlaw said in the comments?
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. I didn't see that. See, they only corrected him. Season 6, dude. Come on. Yeah, these are, yeah, I said Christian's pretty funny on Twitter too. Sometimes we've joked around about X-Men stuff. I asked him if he got adamantium put in for his, all his hip surgeries and all that kind of stuff. And he'll reply and joke around. He's pretty cool with fans. So, and this was just a gift. This was
Yeah, just
lovely.
a gift to us
But
all.
But Courtney, you were wondering about the hand placement.
Yeah, I was like, that is really interesting hand placement that he got going on there. Like, I don't.
Kind of like holding it down.
Yeah, like you, like kind of like Lindsted's nipple thing. Like you can't handle this. I gotta,
That's right.
I'm gonna draw attention to it, but you're not gonna,
You don't get the
not
full
too much.
view.
You just get a tease.
Oh, come on. Guys like to just have their hands on themselves, and we know it. So it's his relaxed mode. He's just like, yep, here I am.
If only he just had the little hand tucked into his waistband at the top. That
It's
would
like
be
he's making an arrow. It's like he's making an arrow almost with his hand.
Yeah, exactly. Like
right here, ladies.
this
Yeah.
one's for the girls.
Well, it's what he wrote.
Yeah,
Oh, crap.
Oh, we love you, Christian.
absolutely. This one's just weird. I'm gonna let Valerie take this one.
Oh yeah, this just cracks me up. Because it reminds me of my mother used to work for Fujifilm, and they used to take company pictures at the sales meetings. And a Japanese company, not a lot of women in management. And so when they would take the company picture, it looked just like this. It would be a bunch of men in all, the exact same color suits. And my mother was 5'10" with blonde curly hair. And she'd usually have on like a bright yellow dress or red or something. And it just was made me laugh when I saw this. I'm like, it just looks like one of mom's work photos. Like, this is awesome. But yeah, she tweets a lot of stuff like Aga with the Cheesecake Factory. Caro's got Godiva, so they apparently embrace their sweet tooth together. She said,
Definitely.
I'm not good at sharing my chocolates. Mm, so
Yeah,
that was
it is weird. It does look weird, like seeing her with like all these dudes that are like so like serious faced and like
yeah, that's the thing too.
it's
Yeah, there's
kind of
like
terrifying. Someone on Instagram, I wish I could credit them, but I didn't plan on saying this, was someone said it looked like a scene out of Kill Bill.
oh no, that's true. Does she get to be Uma?
It's like, the thing is, that photo on the left screams to me, come get your chocolates, if you dare or something. Like, it looks so uninviting. Like,
Yes.
chocolate, let's all stand here and look tough and anything. And then, of course, smiley blonde, Caroline in the middle. This is very odd. Very
And
odd.
chocolate's such a happy, playful thing, and
I
it's
know,
like,
you're killing it.
it just looks like they're guarding a bank. Like,
Yep.
they're guarding the gold.
Yeah, if you
Yep.
get anywhere near Caro, we're gonna kick your ass. But here you have some chocolate. Maybe that's what it is.
Oh, Lord.
What's good, Rory? What's good?
Uh,
All right, we are almost done. This is our last picture, which me and Valerie kind of got in a little argument earlier. We never fight, so we were going through the tabs and we go, "Hey, look, it's us."
oh.
We're blaming Michael for that. You're the one that
Yeah,
caused
we're gonna
the
blame Michael for
stirring-
this,
stirring
but
things
yeah,
up.
this tension
This was
between
just
us.
awesome. Um, I always love Nando anyway, and then Rafa makes the best facial expressions and gestures and stuff. So this was just so perfect. And then people were of course captioning it with it. No, you cannot have the left side of the bed, and all
Yeah, I was
kinds
gonna
of
say it does look like relationship bickering.
yes.
Like, I did what you said. No, you don't listen. You don't listen.
I love the way that Fernando is posing. It makes it seem like his ass is like sticking straight out, and the way his hands up.
Yes.
He just looks like such a prima donna right there, which is hilarious.
Like, talk to the hand, Rafa. Just talk to the hand.
That's brilliant.
You don't listen to me. I'm feeling so unloved right now. I'm better than this. I deserve a man who gives a shit.
And this was their Davis Cup in Denmark, and that was when Rafa was interviewed afterwards, and they asked him about the atmosphere and stuff, and he was saying, oh, it was great, it was very welcoming and very fair, and so thank you very much, everybody, Denmark people.
Denmark people. You Denmark people.
You Denmark people. And I'm thinking his mind was probably spinning, going, is it Danish? Is it
What?
Denmarkian?
Denmarkian.
He'll
Denmarkian sounds like it came out of Star Trek.
There you go. Because I'm thinking it really isn't obvious that it's Danish from Denmark, so I could see him being confused by that. So it was just so cute.
Dear.
It was like, everybody Denmark people. So we got Rafa-isms and love spats with Fernando.
Yes.
So
It's a perfect photo.
Yeah.
It really is. So perfect. And
Oh,
that is our
we're
show,
done.
really.
That's
We've
okay.
went through all our topics, and you can follow me, Courtney Massey, at Courtney Mania, and also now that I work with Outside the Ball, go at outside_the_ball and go to outsidetheball.com, which, if you're not familiar with it, it's a web series hosted by Maylene Ramey, who you may know from like Tennis Channel and OKTV, and it's a lot of fun. They do a lot of comedic, fun videos with players. they even do parody music videos. We have new videos every single week. Last week's video, we played the Newlywed Game with Thomas Burditch and his wife Esther. So it's a lot of fun. So please go follow that and go to the YouTube channel and look at all the videos. And I'm sure you'll find a lot of good stuff on there. So.
And then you can follow the rest of us. I'm Valerie. You can follow me at Tennis Inside Out, and my website's tennisinsideout.com. You know, we should probably start putting the actual podcast site on here too, so people can subscribe. But you can click on the YouTube links and find that so that you don't miss a fabulous episode. And thank you, Stephanie, for joining us.
Well, yeah, I was so happy to be here. And if you don't follow my blabber on Twitter, I'm at Steph in the US, and I've had a tennis blog called I Have a Tennis Addiction on Blogspot for about 5 years. So I don't post as much as I like to, but still right there from time to time.
Thank you. We had so much fun, and I hope you did too.
It was awesome.
I think we had some good topics this week, and
Yeah.
we talked about, I think, the fan journal thing was awesome. We'll have to get to work on that because we had all kinds of plans. So
Yeah, we're gonna change the world, all three of us.
All right, I've been waiting for it. Here we go.
We are the Avengers.
We need a theme song then.
There you go.
We gotta get Kevin Anderson.
There you go.
He'll make it.
That would be perfect.
Oh, we have
Kevin
some
Anderson,
thinking to do now.
We'll be making a music video with Kevin Anderson and the guy from South Park, and everybody smoking kukushkin and twerking and doing the whip and nay nay. It's gonna be amazing.
And you have to get Air Bear to sing though, because he can actually sing.
Oh yeah, he can sing. It's gonna be a ball.
So thank you very much for listening, and this has been the night session.